Hey everyone, I'm Vitika, the Senior Product Designer for Pipeline Execution and Pipeline Security team. As I transition out of Pipeline Security team completely today, I just wanted to make sure I'm providing an overview of the last exercise that I've been a part of. So, around in August, we started off with an early adopter program for our native secret solution. Um, as a part of that program, which is like we sent out a survey and a bunch of um, our users they signed up to participate in this program where they would like we would send out assignments and they would provide their feedback on what they think about our direction, our decisions, and the prototype in general. And this would help us in just making sure that we are staying on the right track with what we are building, and we don't like come across any surprises once we have rolled out an MVC. So we are a little like closer to the MVC now. As a part of the first assignment, we just tested if you're looking at the right user stories. So just getting the basic things right in the prototype, like what information would they like to see about a secret? Would they appreciate an option to edit? If yes, then what those options, like what all should they be able to edit? Then what details would they want to look deeper into, and so on. So that was more of a generic like reaction that we sought from assignment number one. But for the second one, we decided to like go deeper into specific workflows. And here the two specific workflows were: number one, revoking a secret, which is going to be similar in terms of steps to deleting a secret, but they are both, of course, like very different things that you're doing. And the second was just like understanding how they are naming, because that's a key aspect. Like, are we providing them with the tools to manage their secrets well? And name is definitely a big part of that. Also, because we heard some conflicting feedback around naming conventions, so we just wanted to make sure that we are going to like we will keep in mind the top requirements when it comes to naming. And so we like framed a few questions around that. Okay, so let's see what we heard around revoking or and deleting a secret. So one of the verbatim was, it seems that it will be easy to manage and restrict access to sensitive data, ensuring security and compliance in a project without causing unnecessary impediments to workflow and access for authorized users. So this was in a way appreciated, that we are allowing users to revoke, and the method to do that was like fairly simple. Um, yeah, and the confirmation after revoking a secret should be louder is a feedback that we received, because right now what we were presenting was pretty subtle. I can like go deeper here and show what we were doing previously. So we were just like adding a badge here that said revoked, but the badge was not like calling out for attention. And also like we now would show a banner here just to make sure that it is clear enough that that some action was taken, and it could have an impact on a few things outside of this page. Okay, then coming back, the access to a revoked secret should be more restricted. So once a secret has been revoked, doesn't mean that it would have the exact same access as what was defined for when it was active. So we will like look into that as well. Then users expect to separate the access right from roles, and our design does enable that. Like we are allowing users to yeah, this is a good example here. Like we allow users to select roles and also select like individual users and groups, but which is they expect more clarity in the communication here, that you should be able to do both. And for example, they might not want to give all the maintainers an equal amount of access rights, and they should be able to do it from here. Then going back, they also expect to see a single policy, like in completed products, where you define a policy and you just attach the policy to any new secret that you create or that are existing. And that's something that we are looking at maybe in future iterations. So this was for revoking and deleting a secret, then coming to naming a secret. So a basic way of naming is writing down the path, or stay camel case with the underscores, not dash, because I did that mistake. All right, sorry. So name field should be optional. This is another thing that we learned. So in the previous round, we received feedback there that name is not the same as key, and there's some organizations that strictly require this field for names because they have certain conventions around that, and it makes it easier for them to implement a certain standard across the organization. So we will make sure that we should be able to build something that satisfies both the kind of organization that have stricter policies around naming, as well as the ones that like look at it as something of an overstretch. Like, we don't want to work with names, don't make us. And there's that. Then coming to the overall reaction. So the reaction, of course, has been positive. It's like 40% of what we heard was pretty like in line with the feedback from the previous round. Like, it remained unchanged. The reaction remained unchanged, but there were also some fluctuations, and I would attribute a lot of that fluctuation to the restriction with the prototype, because I mean, users definitely expected to be able to type into the form that we had provided them and like be able to interact with that in a better way. But our Figma prototype has its own constraints that we just had to make do with, and that kind of like added to their idea of like this not being as complete as they had expected it to be, which was fair. So keeping that in mind and keeping all the like verbatims and feedback in mind, this was overall like we did make progress, and we did receive good feedback, but like we received a lot of cues that we are heading in the right direction. And the next thing for me was to translate a bunch of feedback into changes for the design of the very first iteration. And I went ahead and I did that. Instead of using split button for revoke and delete, we are now using separate buttons like secondary and primary. Where can I show an example of that? Here, yeah. So we'll have edit, revoke, delete. This is unrevoked because right now this particular secret has been revoked. Similarly, work on surfacing toasts that are clearly visible when a critical action is performed. So we definitely have more visible alert, not a toast, here on the page when something has been revoked, and it would be very similar when something has been deleted, something as a secret. Then improve the roles user drop down and see if like we can be more clear with our communication there. So I have gone ahead and added a popover for when users are in the edit window and they are trying to like, yeah, here. So this is a very like raw version because I would still like share this with our technical writer to get the words right, but this is the more or less the idea that when users hover over this help icon, they should be able to understand like how they're expected to assign and edit permissions in this window. And lastly, make name field optional, which again, like we are going to be implementing that. It shouldn't be something that would be required if you're creating a secret. And we will like, we yet to think about how would it still be a standard experience, like what would appear in the list view if you have a name versus if when you don't have a name, and there should be a parity in the overall experience. So this is sort of an overview about what we have heard, and I went ahead, I updated the design issue, and I've also made a mention of what changes we have made after the feedback that we heard from assignment 2, I've taken down all the like JPEGs that were here in the design management, because this design is evolving like so fast that I think we run a risk of presenting something stale to anyone who would come here looking for an SSOT for design. So please visit the Figma link that has the most up-to-date designs at any time, at any given time. And if you want to like just have a discussion, Figma is a good place for that as well. And that is it. I am working on a deck where I'm trying to like put detail of all the small little things that we have heard, the overall change in satisfaction that we witnessed, and also like the ease of use, what users feel about that versus what they felt when they looked at the very first draft of our proposal. Keeping all of that in mind, I'm going to be like putting all these links in my transition issue as well, just in case you need to find any of this information at a later stage. And thank you.